I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today's steamy romance recommendations. Obviously, February has Valentine's Day. Steamy romance recommendations are a thing that happens this time of year. I have a steamy romance recommendation for every year that I've been on Booktube. This is my fourth, I think, video because I have them a little more frequently than every 12 months. So these are all ones that are not in those recommendations. I will try and link those recommendations in the description. I already have a bunch of favorites there. So these are ones that aren't there. This is the new batch. So the very first one is A Tale of Two Cities, a Valentine's Day novella by Alexandra Warren. This is to date my favorite Valentine's Day book I've read. It's my very favorite. It's steamy, it's black love. It is two strangers that is an NBA player and then an Instagram influencer, and he like slides into her DMs, or she slides into his, one or the other, and he treats her like a queen from the very beginning, and it's hot. Every time they are meeting up, it's hot, hot, hot. This does end in a happy for now. All of this series does, but like delightful. Literally my favorite. Then I have Held in Contempt, an erotic novella by Ava Sherie. This is another black love book, and this one does have a content warning for racism because the villain of the story is a racist, but I can't really tell you the tropes for this one without spoiling it. I was very surprised when I read this book, but it's hot, and it starts off hot right at the beginning with some public, semi-public sex, and it's just like, ooh, I was rooting for them so hard, and not only was the steam so incredibly good, but also their relationship really worked for me. Then I have Evil Twin by Kati Wilde. This is a fantasy romance novella, and it has some very creative sexy times. And this is basically the king's brother is a general, and he promised his parents he wouldn't kill his brother, so he needs another way to not have to clean up after his brother. So instead of taking over his country by killing his twin brother, he has the idea to seduce his brother's bride and rule her country instead. And his plan works, and he has to deal with the fallout of that. And this is funny, steamy, sweet, deep. It's so much in such a short book. Like, I could not begin to tell you how amazing it is. Then I have Kink Camp Hunted by A. Anders. This is a consensual non-consent book, primal chase at a kink camp. So there's a content warning because his wife died of cancer, and he doesn't really do anything other than anonymous encounters at this kink camp that he runs, and he wasn't really into it as much. His wife was, but she's never been to a kink camp before, and they are going to sign up for the same experience basically that first night, and then they want to do it again. There's a lot of different kink and sexual orientations and things represented in the book, and I want books for all of the characters. I don't know who all, we do know who the next book will be about, but if you like that kink, or you want to see a kink camp represented, the author did write it based on her own experience at one, and you just want kink represented in a very positive way, highly recommend. Incredibly hot. Then I have Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. This is two male-female couples, and one rents the apartment of a duplex that the other one lives in, and the women are going to be involved with each other. So you're going to have steamy scenes between the two women, and you're also going to have steamy scenes as each individual couple. The men are in the room for like one steamy scene, but they don't interact with anybody but their own girl. So so good, so sweet. I loved the consent and the just like devotion that these men had for their women and how they wanted them to be so happy. And this is not cheating. This is completely enthusiastic consent, knowledge of it, all of the things. So just kind of incredible. And this is also black love. Then I have Fans Only by B Love, another black romance. This is two friends, frenemies. They're in the same friend group, but he really annoys her and they don't get along that well. But they decide to start a Fans Only together in order to earn money, and he treats her immaculately. If you want to see a hero spoil the main character from the very beginning, perfection. Also, a really good take on sex work, in my opinion, and just like the care taken with that and the way he took care of her and never wanted her uncomfortable or exposed in a way that she did not want to be. Just so good. It was so good. I'm not really a fan of Friends to Lovers, but this one works so well for me, I think, because there wasn't any pining. There was some attraction there, but like they were part of a friend group. They weren't going to go there, so really good. Next I have Hollow's Grove by Jacquot. This is a Halloween novella. There is a Valentine's Day novella that has not come out yet when I'm filming this, but is already out when you're seeing this. But this one, the Kink, we have a pleasure dom, which basically means he's trying to get as many orgasms out of his partner as is humanly possible. And it is a wild time. This is Friend's older brother, and I really liked the reason why they weren't together yet in this. So they're in their late 20s. She has been in a long-term relationship basically since reaching adulthood. So that's the reason. And then before that, the reason why they're kind of enemies a little bit, and he always terrorized her a little bit, was because he was like 16, 17, something like that when they met. And she was like 14, a couple years younger than he was, but obviously not appropriate. The younger you are, the more age gap matters, right? And so to kind of prevent anything, because she was kind of into him, he was always playing pranks on her and stuff. And that never went away because that was all he could get from her, because by the time she reached 18, she was already in a relationship. And I just, one, really respected that. Thank you so much. And also, I loved their dynamic. But the steamy scenes, wild stuff. Then I have Priceless by Miranda Silver. This is a new adult college dark romance. And the side characters were so toxic and really stressed me out a lot. And there's some content warnings that you should be aware of. If you're interested, look it up, because honestly, it's been too long for me. I don't remember what they are, and I don't want to accidentally skip any. I have not really recommended this book much because I was so stressed out by the side characters. However, the sexy times, it was top tier. So he pays her for sex, and part of that is degrading her. So if you don't like degradation, you might not like this. I don't really like degradation, and I did really like this. It made me feel very vanilla, I can tell you that, because I was just like, oh my god, clutching my pearls over here. It was hot. It was really hot. That's all I've got for you. Am I blushing? I feel like I'm blushing. You probably can't tell under the makeup, but I feel like my face is getting red. It was good. Next I have Bound, which is Wet in the Wild #1 by Aveda Weiss. This is a paranormal. So this is animalistic, not shifters. They're humanoid the whole time. They don't have multiple forms, but they are animalistic monsters, right? And this is hate effing to a degree that you might have never read before. It did recently get banned off of Amazon, so you can use the link for BookFunnel, but the full-length sequel is coming out in March. All of the kinks. So this is MMF, and our two guys are escorting their prisoner that they have met on the battlefield many times back to the clan, and they decide to let off a little steam, and she's interested but doesn't want to have to lose her pride to say that she wants to be involved. And so they're like, okay, all you have to do is tell us no. We're not gonna make you beg for it, but you know, there's consent here, and it is sometimes too much for me. but also a wild time. This is not beginner friendly. Okay, this is intermediate to advanced. I highly recommend. And then lastly, I have Technical by Alexandria House. This is Black Love. This is a full-length book, and it is a NBA player and a single mom of an infant. So you do have a little tiny baby involved. There is birth depicted on page, so maybe caution with that. He just wants to spoil her. He just wants them in his life, and she lets him. There is no third act breakup. There is very little conflict. They just decide to love each other, and they do that throughout this whole book. And there are some seriously steamy scenes, and also him taking care of her allows her to get back to violin playing, which she was not able to do when she was having to try and get enough money to be a single mom. And just, I felt for her so much, but then also he just gave her everything that she needed, and her love for him in return was all that he asked for, and it was so good. This one just like makes my heart happy every time I think about it. So that's it. Those are some steamy romances that I've not already included in a steamy romance recommendation. Let me know if you have read or want to read any of these, and also let me know if you have any recommendations for me that you think I should definitely check out. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.